Thank you, Paul. If you could just stop the share screen.
Sure.
But thank you for the presentation. We're just trying to keep the schedule here going. And without further ado, I'll just give the floor to Ekrem and Ozgur Tufekci from the Agri, Ibrahim, Cecen University and CESRAN International, respectively, with a presentation on transformation of humanitarian intervention, a comparative perspective, 1945-2020. I know that both of them are in the session. I'm not sure who exactly will be presenting.
It's me. I will present.
Oh, here we go. Thank you. You're the floor.
Okay, thank you. And hello, good evening to all. Greetings from the eastern part of the Turkey. And it's very pleasure to be here. I would like to first thank you, the CESRAN International and the organization committee of the for their effort to prepare this Congress and the all participants to be here to listen us. Okay, now. Is everyone okay with PowerPoint? Okay, this presentation is about our ongoing work with Dr. Ozgur Tufekci. We are at the beginning stage of the study. Today, I will present you our question and how we will answer our question and how to conduct this study. Okay, let's start. Okay, one of the leading controversies of the last decade is question of what is to be done when a state is unwilling or unable to halt a humanitarian crisis within its territory, or what if a country itself creates such a crisis. To understand better with a metaphor, should we intervene if a bandit tries to kill our neighbor's kids and their father unable to stop the bandit? Or with Daniel Archibald's metaphor, should we intervene if our neighbor's husband beat up his wife? The concept of humanitarian intervention emerged from this concern and implies that a military intervention to internal affairs of a country which have a group of people suffer from human rights violation by third-party country or a group of countries or an international organization with or without the state's consent. Although some problems in practice and some states effort to follow their interests under the umbrella of the HI leads some erosion in reliability of the concept and the justification of the interventions, it's clear that powerful states, especially have potential to intervene, are called to intervene in most human rights violation. But unfortunately, states have potential to intervene, have no standard criteria to decide to intervene or non-intervene. In other words, I mean, they can intervene a state which has human rights violation, but they cannot intervene another state which has the same situation. This shows us that decision to intervene or non-intervene is comprised of multiple factors from the politics to economic, as well as the humanitarian motives. With the end of the Cold War and the collapse of the Soviet Union, some radical change occur in international systems. The international area witnesses a wave of change, and the humanitarian intervention concept is also one of them, affected this wave. Humanitarian intervention gained attention in 1990s. Academics, states, international organizations began to breach the wall of the non-interference and attach less importance to the concept of national sovereignty. The sanctity of the national sovereignty was reduced, and the opinion that humanitarian violation as responsibility to protect by all states was gained more attention. It's noteworthy that after the Cold War, there is an intrinsic willingness among the states and the non-governmental organization to address humanitarian events. For example, in addition to great powers, the rising power in the regions with humanitarian problems were also more willing to do their part. Moreover, international organizations became more organized to focus on human rights violation after the Cold War. The permanent member of the UNSC were less inclined to veto resolution about the humanitarian military interventions. After the Cold War, there were interventions mainly rely on manpower and not just limited to provide security. I mean, to be precise, interveners' task is not just limited to stop violence and provide security. As in the East Timor and the Somali case, interveners undertook a wide range of tasks, including building roads, civic centers, even holding elections and vaccinating children. And now our research question: is this transformation happened after the Cold War is still valid today? Or are we witnessing a new transformation in HI? And if it has happened, this transformation is towards a new one or old one? I mean, what is the direction of the transformation? And what is the feature of the transformation features? Today, we can see intervention faster or more effective, or more cautious and more reluctant. And application method of interventions. Do interveners still rely on manpower and intend to solve apart from the problems, apart from the military issues, or just try to solve issues only with airstrike? The permanent member of the UNSC still less inclined to veto a resolution about the humanitarian military interventions, or vice versa? Okay, in this table, we can see in the first 10 years after the end of the Cold War, 6 cases can be seen as military intervention. Iraq 1991, Somali 1992, Haiti 1994, but Haiti is arguable. Rwanda 1994, East Timor 1999, and Kosovo in the same year. But in the next 20 years, 2000 and 2000, between the 2000 and 2020, only 3 military interventions carried out: Sierra Leone 2000, Libya 2011, and Syria 2014. But against this one is against the ISIS, not the Syrian government. This table means that no humanitarian tragedy happened in this 2000 and 2020. I don't think so. If we ask the participant in this room, everyone in this room can say a different human rights violation, I think. So humans still suffer in 24th century. Okay, purpose of our work. The main purpose of this work to examine whether there is a new transformation in HI in the post-Cold War area regarding to decision-making process of intervention. The country is willing to engage in problems and the application methods. I mean, in other words, how the intervention is carried out. To avoid misunderstanding, I need to say that we are not saying that big states must intervene much and engage in every humanitarian problems, and they must rely on manpower and much more than air power. It's not our point. We are just focused and want to demonstrate this transformation happened in the 21st century. Okay, if there is this transformation about a new trend or an old trend, I mean pre-1990s, and what are the reasons and the drivers of this transformation. Also, we are trying to make a future projection or what kind of picture regarding HI will wait us in the future. Okay, now methodology. In this work, selected case will be examined with the comparative analysis method to reach our research question. The case to be examined will be picked from 3 different time intervals. First time interval, 1945 and 1990. Second time interval, 1990 and 2000. third time interval is 2000 and 2020. The comparison of the case from the first time interval with the case from the second time interval will show us the first transformation in HI after the Cold War. The comparison of the case from the third time interval with case from the first and second time intervals will show us the differences and the similarities and whether there is a new transformation or not. First of all, the case selection and the case examination criteria will be identified. Cases in this time intervals will be selected according to identified case selection criteria. And this case, likewise, examined according to case examination criteria. I want to refer to complexibility of the identifying criteria. Identifying case selection criteria is hard part of the job because, as everyone familiar with the HI literature knows, reaching common criteria among the case is not easy. For example, I would like to give out some example. According to Simon Duke, humanitarian interventions would appear to have two prerequisites. First, there must be a violation of human rights, and it must be proven. Second, this violation has shocked conscience of humans and humiliated the international community. And for the Paul Christopher, 4 criteria sufficient for the determining the permissibility of the humanitarian intervention: just cause, proportionality, last resort, and lastly, public declaration of the lawful authority. But as for the Nicholas Wheeler, there is no single case of intervention from 1945 that meets all these criteria. And it doesn't make any sense to think future intervention will meet this criteria. And Daniel Archibald answered the question of when is intervention required. His answer that International Law Commission will draft a guidelines to determine which case have a humanitarian emergency, and the United Nations General Assembly would approve it. But as you guess, we don't have enough time to wait International Law Commission to draft a guidelines. Because of this, we need to determine our own criteria to choose case to work on. Okay, thank you for listening. I will be here your question and contribution or any kind of feedback. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Ekrem. Yes, could you just